Afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
My name is Sanponya Sowan. Today I will be the examiner for the speaking section. What is your full name?
My full name is Gandawit Chatan Prithvirikun. My nickname is Petch, and please call me Petch.
Okay, can I see your ID, please?
Sure, sir.
Thank you. Where are you from?
I'm from Chiang, which is one of the provinces in Thailand. It seems like the capital city of the northern part of Thailand.
Do you work or study?
I'm currently studying at Thailand University in an international college, and the minor is international business management.
What is your favorite place at home?
There are several places at home that I really like, and I never pick one, but if I have to pick one, then I would choose my balcony, because it's filled with lots of plants and trees, and I love being with trees, and I can stay there at the couch reading the books all day without being tired.
What feature do you like the most about your house?
The feature that I like the most, particularly in the house, is my reading corner in the house, because my favorite hobby is reading, particularly books. And yeah, I enjoy reading books all day. Like I mentioned before, at the balcony, it's next to the balcony.
What kind of movies do you like and why?
I consider myself as one of the movie addicts, and there are several kinds of movies that I really fascinated in watching, but the one I like the most would be sci-fi and fantasy movies.
Did you like the same kind of movies when you were younger?
My life when I was younger is full with lots of fun, enjoyment, so the one that I did like in the past was fantasy rather than sci-fi, because I didn't have much knowledge about sci-fi back then.
If you had a chance, would you like to make a film?
Well, if I could, then I certainly would, because like I said, movie is one of the things that I really, really like. Not just like, but I'm really fascinated in watching movies.
Okay, let's talk about books. What kind do you like to read books?
There are a few kinds of books that I like, and the most favorite one would be self-improvement.
Okay, what kind of books do you usually read?
Yeah, again, that is the most that I usually read and I like. So I enjoy reading self-improvement books, particularly the ones related to personal development and success pursuing.
Okay, what kinds of books do you read as a child?
As a child, I did enjoy reading comics related to some sort of superheroes and some sort of supernatural story.
Why did you like it back then?
The reason I liked was because the superheroes, those people, they have some certain idea of protecting the city or the world, and they have the strong determination of making the world or the city that they live the better place.
Do you think children should read books, and why?
I strongly recommend children to read books, because learning is the most important part of human being. Since we are different from animals, we have consciousness, and we can progress, we can advance the views of the world by having more knowledge, and learning is the most important part. And I don't want the children to think that learning is just something about sitting inside the white square classroom and studying and reading the books, but also learn something outside the classroom. For instance, the books that's written by the person who really went through all those circumstances and situations.
Okay, now we are moving on to the next part. I will give you a card. You have 1 minute to prepare, and after that you have to speak for about 2 minutes. Here is the card. You can take note if you want.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So, the question is, the disagreement occurred between my friend and I. So, I've been through many cases of disagreement, particularly among the friends. And one of the disagreements that I really remember, because it was a major one, and that affects to my learning experience as a student. So it is about the working method among the group work. Since I'm currently studying in the international college, and the teaching method is Western, so it's a Western method of teaching, and the professor encouraged us to work as groups rather than individual work. So there are various kind of problems occurred among the group. Since we come from different backgrounds, countries, culture, so those factors affect to the way we think and our perspective, attitudes, and the way of working. And I used to work with one English guy, and his characteristic is can be easily described as dominant. So he would like to take control of the group and want to demand each individual to do things that he wants. But the other people in the group, the other members in the group, want the way of teamwork. So want to have more discussion, but he didn't want that. So there was the controversy occurred, and the work couldn't progress onward. So that's how the problem occurred, the different working method. And the solution that I came up with is discussing among the group by comparing and contrasting his idea with our idea, seeing the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages, and make it similar to the way of a democracy works. So we discussed, we compared, we demonstrating, and we illuminating him by contrasting in pictures and in the written paper to see that the way of teamwork has more advantages than disadvantages. Then eventually he admits that our method is better. Then the conclusion is the controversy has been solved, and yeah, we can progress our work and finish the group project at the end.
Okay, let's move on to the discussion. What disagreement do teenagers usually have with their parents?
Teenagers is the time that when a child grows up from the puberty to an adult, and it's very crucial to take good care of the teenagers. And because this time of the age that children spend time with friends and the social at school more than at home. So The problems usually occur related to relationship, friendship, and the idea of their friend comparing to the idea of parents towards their future. So the kids see their future differently from the parents see, and this is one of the major and crucial problems that usually cause the controversy between parents and the children and the teenagers. So in conclusion, different attitudes in seeing things, particularly future and relationship, is a major element.
And what disagreements do children usually have with their peers?
If I'm not mistaken, the children here refers to the kids, the young kids. Okay, so as a child, for the young kids, usually it's a time that they leave the home and spend time more with the friends, and the very first time they exposed to something, they are very close to that thing. It's a new thing for them, so that is very influenced to the kids. So the disagreement would be how they live in the wider society, because back then, before they go to school, they stay only with their parents, so there were only two people. But when they exposed to the bigger community, the bigger society, they have to deal with more people, and each individual comes from different backgrounds. So that's the thing that usually the child doesn't understand, and they need a lot of work on that.
Do you think being polite is an important cultural aspect, and why?
Yes, I do agree that politeness is one of the essential aspects in any culture, particularly in Oriental culture. As you can see, and as we all can see in Japan, the country lost the war, but the country itself advanced itself to the very first place in the continent. The continent here refers to Asia. So Japan becomes the #1 of Asia because they have this characteristic, and I think it's very important to be polite because it gives some certain perspective of being reliable to the business partner when it comes to conducting business.
One last question: do you think being polite helps in business, and why?
Okay, like I just mentioned earlier, when it comes to business, not just being smart or being negotiable is important, but also being polite gives you the certain positive characteristics. So being polite gives you that you are sophisticated enough, and that's very important to make you become more reliable, even if you're not that much.
Okay, no more questions. Thank you for your coming.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.